Welcome to Archean, Archean, whatever it is called. Um, so this is a relatively unknown game. Basically, just Splitsy played it, and now his audience knows it. It's still a very small game, um, and uh, as you can see, we are in quite a desert world, like in desert scene, no one lives here. Obviously, we have water. Um, but this is actually Earth, so that's the actual moon, but in a very distant time. So that's why no one is here yet. And we are some kind of robot that doesn't need to eat or drink, but we need some resource. So that's why we have these rocks. So we take these rocks, right? And they have various components. You can see if you place the mouse on them. Like this one has very high silicon. This one has a little bit less, but has more iron. So by crushing them, we get those elements, and we use those elements to make basically anything we want. It's a kind of space engineers like, or I think a better comparison would be maybe with station years, since it's quite more realistic and complex in terms of engineering. And basically, we can do whatever we want. So, for example, we can take these rocks, crush them, and that will give us the minerals we were seeing in the exact proportion that showed here. So with this we can, for example, construct some components, and this gets quite complex. Like we can have fluids, we can have thrusters, we can go to the moon. Like this is an actual, like, real size simulation, and that moon on the sky, it isn't just for show. You can go there. I never went there because I only played the adventure mode, not survival. Uh, because I think it's quite cool to have the the problems and issues to engineer your stuff. So resources, you need to gather resources, and to gather resources, you have to build machines, maybe some mining vehicles or submarines. There are minerals under the sea, so we can go there. We can even like right now, um, but it's not that useful to stay in the shore. Basically, the heavier minerals are way down there, and as you can see, it gets dark pretty quickly. We have a flashlight, but it's not quite enough to go there. Also have a judgment and basically the start is uh, quite slow. We have to take your rocks from the floor, but it gets pretty interesting quite quickly, I would say. Um, the, um, this start, they have to gather quite a bit of resources basically to build a battery, and from that battery we can power something like a mining drill that will gather those resources for us. But for now it's basically just picking rocks out of the floor. You can also build some tools to help us. So this distance you are seeing here, I press V, and basically I can press V in anything, like those mountains over there, and I have the distance. But also when build some stuff. I can know, for example, the weight of the vehicle I'm building, or the battery levels, the battery, that kind of stuff using the same tool. So we can crush this, and we can actually make a tool to make this rock collecting stuff easier. So it takes 1 kilogram of iron here. So let's make a rock rake tool, and you'll see it gets quite complex. But for now, let's take the rock, the rake, and for now I was like clicking each rock. So if I click and hold, like I'm holding my mouse button, I can take it. But with the rake, I can click and hold and just drag my mouse, so it gets a bit faster, but it's nothing compared to the drill. For now, the materials we want are basically for a battery, a drill, and some small base. And we need to do this a bit fast, I would say, because when it gets dark, it gets really dark, and it gets quite hard to build. But it takes a long time to get dark too. I think it's real time based. Also, you'll see a bit of artifacts. I think it's because my video card is a AMD, and the game only got support for AMD like recent. So even with a 7900, it still has artifacts. So let's see if we can do some stuff. To build, we need a constructor tool. You can see it takes 10 screws. Let's make them. The constructor tool. Also, it will be good to have a destructor tool. With the constructor tool, basically we can put blocks. I will show right now. But the destructor tool is to take, to destroy like components. For example, the battery and the drill. Also, label paint. Paint tool. Very nice. Make things prettier. Label tool. Not that useful. Part tool, maybe later. So now we have a tool, and you can see like a phantom of a few steel beams. It says on the bottom there that I need 12 steel beams to construct this. So let's craft them. That's a 12 for now. And if I hold the constructor tool, you can see it comes to life. Let it go, then it falls and it has physics. I think I can push it. Oh, I think it's too heavy. You can see the mass that it has. So 120 kilograms. Yeah, I can't lift this. But what I can do is like remove some of these beans, and they come back to my inventory, so that those 12 beans are actually the 12 beans that were actually here. So they are individual pieces. And to put like a floor here, we can see different type of blocks that I can build. So for example, a slope. If I had building materials, I could do something like this. And you can see that the slope changes the angle of it. Or I can also raise it, so make a giant triangle or something. This is very cool to build pretty vehicles and stuff. But for now we need actual function instead of building. So let's see some construction blocks. And we can do either concrete, which takes water and oxygen. So to obtain oxygen, we have this little menu down here. So we have a tank of water, and we can activate electrolysis. And our suit basically has an RTG, I think. So a nuclear uh, energy kind of stuff. It's not exactly a reactor, I think, but it generates energy, and with that energy we can break the water into hydrogen and oxygen, and by just getting to the seawater here, our water tank goes up. So now we have oxygen, and we could do some concrete blocks. By holding shift I can craft more of them. And we can see that concrete block only takes silicon, water, and oxygen. Basically you have infinite water and oxygen. And silicon we got from the rocks, and we have quite a bit of it. We have a ton, apparently. And we also have composite blocks, which will be very useful because they are very light. But for that we need to first make plastic, which takes, I think, carbon and silicon, right? So, but for now, concrete will do. We'll look them. We will use a lot. So just cleaning it up. Now we have the blocks. We can put walls, and you can see in the middle it's bad because of the crosshairs, but it's composite blocks. But just change using my mouse wheel, I can change to various materials. So let's select concrete, and let's do an entire wall, which will be actually floor. Oh, more rocks. Some more rocks. I think, yeah, the carbon is. Now we can actually have a little floor. And even though it's very heavy, right now, one ton, just with a floor and a few bins. To put a drill here, we actually need a what's the name? It's anchor, the anchor, and that will actually ground this built into the floor, so nothing will move it. Not us, not any vehicle that bumps into it. Not even the drill having massive vibrations. I'm actually not sure if you can actually drill without a ground anchor, just having a very heavy building. But I'm not gonna try. Maybe I'll try. Yeah, I'll try. Sure. So. Let's start with that battery. We have two batteries, low voltage and high voltage. I could start with the high voltage, even though it's like 10 times the price, basically, with 900 capacitors, but I can already do that. But for illustrating purposes, I will do the low voltage first, and high voltage later. Let's craft some plastic. Actually, plastic for the wires. Get a bit of crafting. Circuits. Two capacitors. So items are very interlaced with crafting recipes. You can see that I put down the menus here. And for example, the circuits needs diodes, that needs wire, that needs plastic, that needs carbon and silicon, finally. But I played this game before this drop-down menu, and it was way worse than it is now. The quality of life actually like skyrocketed after the update. So now we have a low voltage battery. Let's put it down in the middle. Something pretty cool here also is that you can see that there is a grid, right? You can see that that's a block. Actually, that put a block down. So you can see that there is a grid. I can just move it by units of blocks, except if I hold X, then I can put down half units at a time. Also, that green stuff there, that green box, is the actual like collision box, I guess, hitbox. But I usually don't pay attention. But it's cool that you can put like multiple components in the same place, basically because their hitbox doesn't collide. Let's put it in the window, take out this block, and of this battery, it's a drill. So lots of stuff. It's plastic. We also have the crafting queue here, and it's full. We can only put 4 items in that queue. But it's quite fast, actually, the crafting. Except for some components, I remember discs taking forever to, or actually magnets, I think, take forever to craft. So it takes, it gives us some time to pick rocks while craft. At least we don't have to craft each individual component, like clicking this 200 times wouldn't be. Wires. Yeah, we have some water left. But it's, I think it's important for the early game to have water close, because as I showed, you need some of it to craft some stuff, so concrete and plastic. And as I showed, plastic is used in some important recipes like wires, and you use a lot of wires. Also, I believe diodes take plastics too, and you use them in LEDs. So you use a lot of LEDs to make some screens and stuff that are pretty cool. You can actually like program in this game and program your screen, and that's very, very cool. So yeah, it takes wire, that takes plastic, so it's quite important to have a water source nearby. So the circuits. So yeah, quite boring these first few minutes, but what gets it's worth it to spend some time with boring stuff, and then you feel like way more powerful when you have a drill and you are drilling like 10 times what you mined before. And you also can automate the crafting. So there is a component called a crafter, and in the newer versions, like I think it's together with this quality of life that I mentioned, with the drop down menu, the crafter basically has it's quite intelligent, right? So it can craft, for example, I want to craft one motor, and it would craft like the 43 wires that are missing here. So I think it's water. Also, there are nuclear reactors now. There were already some nuclear reactors, but they were quite shitty, as in cheating, not sorry. So cheating, because they were quite easy to get a hold of. They were RTGs actually, but they were quite easy to get, and they gave a lot of power. You got power related to how well you cooled it, and you put in the water, and then it would generate like all the power you need in the early game, and then you get more of materials, and it gets easier to build more of them. It was quite easy to get infinite power, basically. So now we have a drill. Let's put it down. And there are some stuff that you can see here, some connectors. So the battery has these red connectors. If I can zoom in, right? Yeah, those red connectors that are low voltage connectors. This blue connector is a data connector, and the drill has the same too. So we connect the low voltage to the battery and the data to a lever or a button to turn it on. And we have also this yellow connector that is for high voltage. So let's make a button, a toggle button. But also there is another type of connector. There are two more. So this one here is a item connector. So the drill doesn't have an inventory, like the only information I can get is what is below the drill, the components there, the elements. But it doesn't have an inventory, so we will actually need a container. Let's make a small container. So let's make a nice stuff here to have some kind of control. And one thing that I dislike from this game is that the off button is downwards. I'm used to it being upwards. So let's put our container here. Okay, put it there, closer to the connection. And now how do we connect them? So we have three parts that have to connect to the drill, the button, the battery, and the container. And to actually connect them, we need some spools. So we need data cables for the button, and we will also need some item conduits that are the item version of cables, I guess, and some low voltage cables. That's crafting. So let's see how we do it. We can click on the drill, and it will show us this path that the wire will take. And I could do some weird path like this, and it puts it on. But let's make it somewhat prettier. And here comes a very useful tool. So we have a drone mode by clicking F2. And this actually lets us go inside the blocks, except the ground is too close to the blocks, so it won't let me. But for example, go something like this, and then put the conduit, the cable inside these blocks. And by right clicking, I can undo only the last step. Very useful to line up stuff. So now we have a signal from the button to the drill. Let's take out also the conduit. Prettier. Great, but whatever. To do. And I am very curious to see if this thing will fly. Actually, I'm going to put some pretty blocks over here for somewhat of a counterweight. So it's quite heavy. The drill itself is 400 kilograms, the container is also 50, the battery is another 10, so quite heavy. So maybe it will let us mine without an anchor. Let's see. Somewhat of a path here. Okay, everything is connected together. Oh, okay. We need the ground anchor. Turns out it's actually. Actually, let's see if it's mined anything. No. So actually need this. Put it so this is a very big spike that will go underground and close this structure, and let's put right in the middle here. And the button for it, I think I can put right on top, so it will be pretty clear what it is for. So now the spike is on the ground. See there. And now when I turn this on, and we have some mining. This is very slow because the low voltage is quite slow. But if we get this rock and make a high voltage battery, so the difference is night and day. Also, we can automate the crushing process too. We can also like expand this square is getting way too little for us already. So let's build another frame. We also will need some other type of power generation instead of like making batteries every time we run out. So probably some solar panels is the next step. Let's expand this a little bit. Let's of this. So it's just the floor. And I think we need some. We can also automate the water pumping. So there are pumps and fluid ports, and you put a fluid port on the water, it will pump water. You put the fluid port on the air, it will pump air. And the menu is quite loud, so we can encase it. Like I think if you stand behind the wall, we can't hear it. Right. So encasing it would be a good idea, maybe. But also, we shouldn't be using this drill forever, because you can see here that the efficiency is 99.8%. It will actually go down with time, because basically we are removing all minerals from this place. So after some time we check that again. So now we have a high voltage battery. Make high voltage cables, and this will actually accelerate quite a bit our mining operation. Let's put the big brother of this very small battery right beside it. Let's turn it off, take out the low voltage cable. I should have built it from the other side because my shadow is making things difficult. High voltage spool, and you'll see what I mean and say it's quite different. So if you wind back the video, we were taking like 10 rocks per second. Now it's much faster. So 100 rocks per second, and you can see that the number is going down in real time because the efficiency is going down because it's so much faster. And when we see here, it's not even comparable with others. So let's crush them. Maybe let's put some building this concrete platform here. It's a good idea. We don't need the rig tool. Uh, if possible, never again. So, wait. Let's wait this crushing. And for the crusher, actually, I don't know if we need. Yeah, we need tungsten, but the current is working. Yes. So it won't take. Maybe with just this crushing, we have 10 kilograms. Quite far off. But we can make the crusher so that the rock goes directly to a crusher, and then we have the actual minerals as an output instead of take the rocks, put in our paper, crushing them. It takes so much time doing that. The crusher is so effective. So we turn it off. With some nice amount of material to start, like 3 tons of iron. I think it's quite good. Make some solar panels. We can also make these solar sensors and easily make the solar panels like follow the sun. But for that we need a small hinge. And probably would be good to have a roof, I guess, to put those solar panels in. So much more of this to make more concrete, although I have some concrete. Let's put a frame. Maybe build with this height, the roof. For solar panels, I think it's a good idea. Put roof right here. Afterwards, we can like beautify this village. For now, this is what we have. So, let's build the hinge first. Actually, that's also cool to show how the hinges work and the mechanics of this game. There are also hooks which are they rotate instead of like just having a 180 degrees angle. I think hinges are more appropriate to use. Let's take this corner. No more rocks to crush. Actually, it's crushing. Take some time in the beginning, but once we have, I think it's gold, we need to make the crafter, and this gets quite, this gets quite faster. So quite a bit of materials, like 1,000 screws. And also I'm making like 50 connectors, which the time to craft the components is scaled based on how many of them you are doing. You are making, sorry. So that's why I wasn't like crafting 1,000 classic before, although classic is quite fast to craft. So small hinge. Also needs some blocks, and I don't want to use concrete blocks because the hinge will support the solar panels, and like I don't think concrete is well, I don't think it's light for the hinge. Let's make some plastic blocks. And the solar panels. They are somewhat a important part of solar energy. I think I want to do actually farming and put it in a nice grid like that. So let's take the hinge. We need some other components, but it can be done by of it. So the important part of the hinge here is knowing where the positive and negative sides are, because then we will put the sensor in the same direction, and the data from the sensor, which will already be like the position of the sun, so we can connect it directly to the hinge instead of making some kind of logic. So sensor, it's open. Also, let me start building the actual, like, why can't I put it on top of it? Okay then, you win. So let us make the structure maybe like 10 by 10. I think it's enough, so 6 and 4 to the other side. Don't think it's enough, but let's see. So 10, 10. Actually, make 5 to one side and 5 to the other. So, yeah, fighting this side, but this side. Let's make 11 by 11 so it is a bit more symmetrical with the hinge right in the middle. Right. Solar panels, solar sensor. So yeah, the solar panels are quite big. Let's put right here, and we will build the support below it, right? So it has some sense of physics. It's not needed, but it's ugly if we don't. We also can connect the solar panels together, so we only have one output right here. It's either this one or this one that has an open connection, right? But let's put the support below it. So this, satisfactory, and the flying commands are annoying, different, but not too different. Not different enough, I should say. Let's make this. I could have used the symmetry mode, but it's too late now. So now we have the solar panels. They aren't connected to our batteries, and we also have the hinge, which isn't connected to anything right now. So let us connect this. Do some concrete blocks to the side. Make the sensor actually not being the shadow of the solar panels. I already forgot which side's positive side. See it by using the structure tool, I think. No? Yeah, okay. Other side to that side. So put this. It's not needed that the solar sensor is in direct sunlight, but it's. I think it's not needed. But it's beautiful. It's prettier, sorry. As I think I showed quite well, English is not my first language. It's like this. So now we only have to connect the power. I think we could connect the solar panels directly to the hinge. Yep, okay. Damn. Quite effective. So let's maybe remove some of this roof so it doesn't intersect. It doesn't have a problem to intersect this, but again, not physically plausible. So let's make the like a beam. Same with the sensor, so it isn't too strange, and this can rotate freely. Okay, so right now the solar panels are generating power for themselves, which isn't exactly what we want, right? I'll take off this off. Goes back in, and then do concrete other way down. Also, you can, this is really cool, you can actually like repeat the section that you built. That's like I can delete the entire section, I can add one that is exactly the same. This is going to be a bad angle to see. This here, this. We'll prettify it later, but as I was saying, the solar panels are generating power for themselves. Basically, they only power the hinge like this. So let's take this cable off. So I think it's pretty cool how the cable like has the quaternary shape, just like in real life. If the cable isn't like glued down to something. But this only happens when basically we have two different bodies. So we have this build that has 170 kilograms. That is just the solar panels that the hinge is moving. We have the other build that is already 10 tons. So these are different buildings. So the connection is these flexible cables, which is quite cool. So we have something built here. Let's connect this to our actual small battery, so we already have the right voltage. Let's put the battery maybe here. I think it's a good place. So it's 93% full. Let's put this. Top. Do below it. I think it looks good like this. So the battery right here. Let's connect this to our panels, and now the battery is charging. Let's see, charge rate quite fast also for solar panels. But now the hinge isn't connected. And like wasting one of our connections just for the hinge is quite wasteful, so we can actually do a low voltage junction, right? So this junction has one input. You can see the arrows right here. So one output and one input and 4 outputs. So we can put it here. Yeah, it's looking quite bad because of the hitbox, right? I placed right in the middle, and for that I needed a smaller hitbox. So let's put it just on the side, actually. This side, because it's the side the connection of the hinge is on. Actually, let's center this. Let's use the drone mode. I don't consider the drone mode a kind of cheating, because like our jetpack is also like free, so like free flying or free flying, it's the same. So now the hinge is connected and the solar panels are charging this battery, but it's still that battery down there doesn't have a recharge. So So for that, actually we can't connect it directly. You can see that it doesn't form a connection, unlike the drill. You can see that the drill snaps and the battery doesn't. Because it doesn't have a low voltage connection. So for that, need I think it's called a converter, power converter. So this will take our low voltage power and turn it into high voltage. And we need that because the panels only generate low voltage, right? So that's a bit. We can also make some adjustment to have something a little bit prettier. I'll show it in a bit. Let's put the converter. I think here it's a good place, right? And the battery is flush with the wall. So if everything's using this side, so not here, right? And this here. This like this. Right. And now our battery is charging. We have other ways which are quite good, like geothermal generators or geothermal exchangers, which use quite a bit of materials but are very, very, very powerful. So the plan is we put a fluid port which will allow us to pump water from the sea. The water will be pumped to the geothermal exchanger, which will heat it up. And once the water is heated enough, there will be steam, and this steam can turn the steam turbine. So, small steam turbine. But that needs titanium, and we don't have that. I believe titanium is found near the mountains. Maybe those use there have it, but yeah, we don't. So what about this? This this. Maybe actually the crusher would be the right thing to do right now. Yeah, I'll do the crusher. This takes too long to do by hand. And for that we also need another container. I think we can put back to the container. But yeah, this container is quite small, so just a rock here, and actually the actual like separated materials in another container would be good in a larger container. So because this is a small one, let's make a larger container. So you can see that what I was talking about, the motors take some time, and some things like LEGs and casings, we need a lot of it, and because we need a lot of it, it takes a lot of time, because each one, it doesn't take too long, but yeah, 380 casings in one sitting. Let's take some time. So for now the fluid port can stay here. I think only I actually use it. Fluid pump can stay here. Ah, right, the low voltage bridge. I said we can do this, we can make this a little bit prettier. So let's do it. I should do this because it's more stable. So let's remove this and put the bridge right here, like this. And put this, put this back together. And now instead of like directly connecting the the solar generator to the battery, we can connect the solar generator to this, connect this to the battery. It will be just slightly more like well arranged. Like this is a bit better than that hanging cable, and the hanging cable can like this, so it's not hanging that much. Also, it's passing through the concrete, but we can also put another bridge here, and the hanging cable will be just a little bit of cable, and then here we can like tidy it up. So that's cool. Let's take more rocks because this takes a bit with the container, and I get a pressure here. So the crusher has a clearly marked input and output. Let's put, yeah, let's put it like this. Or maybe let's expand for this side, for the drill stuff. Some frames. Also, maybe some lights would be a good investment. Because the day is passing, and like here we already have no light basically because of the panels. So maybe some lights come quite handy. Yeah, this for our paints. And not compost, concrete. Maybe I had concrete. Oh. Yeah, no, I did it. But let's put the crusher down. I don't think the crusher needs something to pull the items. Maybe it does. Because there is some peculiarity on how the crusher deals with item input output. I believe it needs some kind of item conveyor or something like that. Let's see. Item where exactly that? I think you will need it. So let's make it. And yeah, I have concrete, so let's put down the container. Container will be our like output mineral container. Like this. And we can modify this later. I know I'm like procrastinating this a lot, but I promise you I will do it sometime later, but not. So let's connect without the conduit and see if this works. So it's high voltage, as you can see, and like other than different from the drill, it can't be low voltage. It has to be high voltage. This. We can put under the floor by pressing X. I didn't know that. Okay. So now it's connected with another button. Double home button. And let's make just like this. Make another like double room for crusher. And we could use the same button since every time we dig some rocks we probably want to crush them, but maybe we dig the rocks we using another rule, I plan to make a mining vehicle, some kind of truck, probably. And let's make this. Let's make this a different thing. So let's make a new tool, and we have this dashboard tool. Can make some very interesting stuff with this. We can basically customize our own dashboards and screens, and you can put buttons and lights and so on, so forth, labels. Actually, I can't remember. I think the labels need actually the label tool, which let's do it since we are here. Doesn't cost much. So, I like to put the tools down here so I can easily spot them. I don't think the dashboard tool. So this toggle button is useless. That's why right now. Let's make a slope. So we can put the button sloped, right? It doesn't let us, only in these directions. But with the dashboard tool, can make this. Yeah. Sorry. Why? Do I have to drag it? Yeah. So now we have a new dashboard. You can see it here. And this actually has a connector on the back right here. And we can pull the data bit of this connector right to our crusher. And now what data is this sending to the crusher? It's nothing actually. We have to come here to our dashboard tool and have these options. Like this is really cool. This is amazing. I have never seen another thing like this in any game. So we can add a toggle button to this dashboard. Let's put maybe to the side or in the middle. And now we can see that channel 0 here is the toggle button. Let's put it like this vertically. So let's put it vertically. I don't think I need to allow IO input. And when I toggle this button, pressure turns on, and nothing happens. Because I probably use the air. So, let me take a quick look into the wiki to see if it's on the output or input. Oh yeah, the pressure actually needs the conveyor on the input. So let's put it here. Something like this. Like this. So the conveyor also needs power and the data inputs, which we can take from the same button. I will do a data junction, so I can split that same signal, so I don't have two buttons for the pressure and the conveyor. Right. So let's take that. I've already taken. Okay. So let's put it. Let's get quite grain here. Maybe right here. Oh, right here. And we can pull like two cables. And like this. So this is the input. Let's go from the other side. Under 4. Yes. Let's take another one. and that's going on the upper part. So maybe like this, like this. So now we have the same data input, so when one turns on, the other turns on. Now let's take, this takes low voltage, but I won't take from that battery there. That's going to be our solar battery, basically. What I'm going to do is have another power converter and pull the voltage from the high voltage battery. And I'm also going to split that, so a voltage junction. So we can use for other things in the future. We also desperately need some lights. Also, this is express enough. I think this is okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, so we have the voltage junction. So we already have only one high voltage power connector, and ideally we would actually split one of those into the drill and the crusher, so it doesn't take two connectors. But for now, I don't think we need more connectors. Just for now. So let's put this right here, or actually let's put it here. This. So I can take the concrete blocks and hide it, but still know it's here. Let's go into drone mode. It's cool. I like the feeling of the wire going through the wall, just like real life. And the splitting, let's put it like this, just like we did with the button. This. And let's. Yeah. Now this should work. Actually, I need to connect the items. Right. Like this. So now the container has some rocks. Let me. And the conveyor with the rocks can actually tell how much kilograms per second. We have more rocks. Let's test our setup. Conveyor. The rocks are getting out of here. The crusher is crushing them. We have minerals. Right? So maybe this would suffice, but we are still limited into having carbon, copper, iron, silicon, and tungsten in these proportions, right? So if we wanted maybe like gold, we couldn't have it, and if we wanted, for example, more copper, which is quite useful, we would have to mine for quite a while, and that would take quite a bit of power. So one way to go around this problem is to just build a vehicle with a mining drill on the back, and then we can go to where the ore is, instead of just drilling wherever we spawn. So maybe I'll just show what's the idea for doing vehicles in this game, and then later we can actually build it. So just like this building, we start with a frame, right? But now we don't put the ground anchor, and basically that's it. let's put like just some blocks. Let's not do concrete, please. The, the vehicle would get way too heavy, and I don't have capacity. It's a lot of plastic. Yeah, I ended up not using this area, but when we turn into geothermal power, we can build here. And probably would be a good idea to put this container further inland, so we can isolate the sound of this terrible stuff, and like the actual place where we live is free of sound, of the machine sounds at least. So let's do the blocks. Wait a bit. But basically, we do the same stuff. We just build it, but instead of being like statically sized, like we just do a building, but in a vehicle shape, and we have like wheels. We have big wheels, small wheels, just wheels. I think I'll be using wheels. I don't think I need big wheels. Maybe later. But I never use big wheels, I think, and they aren't exactly expensive. Yeah, maybe I will use it. Let's not be cheap. So, magnets, let's do already quite a bit of wires. Actually, I think it will be able to do that. Some more casings, like casings, it's such a pain with so much of it, and anyway, when we have gold in the crafter, it will get much better. So let's do like 4 lines, maybe this is a meter. I'm thinking about the chassis of the vehicle. I won't actually like leaving a meter wide vehicle. I'm thinking a bit of a truck, maybe. So how wide is a truck? 2.5 meters. 2 meters. Yeah, 2.5 maybe. Let's make these. Just too much. Just too little. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to build on top of this because it gives like lower access, so it doesn't happen like I was trying to show the drone view and it gets too close to the ground and I can't get in the block. So here I can actually just go in. And this will help you with the wires and essentially the wires. They are quite a pain. But yeah. So we need the wheels, but I think I'm going to start the pilot seat just to give a some idea of what I'm doing here. We can also make glass for the front. 200 glass blocks. It's cool to have a window, some kind of stuff like that, and the wheels. Quite important. Yeah. Yeah. Crafting sometimes is terrible. The game is great. I love the game, but this start is quite slow, and playing single player, you basically have to find ways to kill time. So since I'm not going to actually like have multiple people driving, I'm thinking of putting the pilot seat on the middle, because then I have more space, basically. Or maybe I put to the side and something interesting on the other side. No, but the middle is better. And I'm going to do some good space in front of it so I can walk it, but also to put some dashboards so I can control the vehicle. I can control the vehicle from the pilot seat. So right now I'm pressing WASD, but I'm not moving because this will be used to move the vehicle. But I also have to program the vehicle. You can see the data port there. And well, that data port will be transferring our inputs from the pilot seat to the computer that will run our vehicle. So just realize it's taking quite a while to do one wheel, so maybe let's start with small wheels. Sorry, just wheels instead of big wheels. We can upgrade this later. It's 300 screws, that will take us to 4 wheels. It's missing motor circuit. Circuits, the motors. We already have 2 wheels, which I can already like show what I'm thinking about. So the wheel would come like here. Yeah, maybe a little bit to the side, but you can get the idea. And so, yeah, and in this building I use symmetry, I think. It's x-axis, yeah, and you can see that you're building the symmetry plane. It's quite cool. So yeah, this will have to move, but this will be the cockpit basically. I don't know, the driver's seat basically. And maybe we build sorry, something backwards for storage, and we need another mining drill. I don't think getting that one will be a good idea, because like if our vehicle is missing, and for example we drove it there, but for some reason we can't remember where we parked it. We can see the tower from there, but without a drill we would have to take the rocks by hand again. So yeah, build another drill, another battery, and we can actually have beacons to signal where things are. So you can put a beacon here. You can also put a beacon on the vehicle and basically broadcast the location. So that problem of forgetting where you parked your vehicle doesn't happen. But I still think it's a good idea to have a backup drill. So I think this is it for now. I'll see you again next time.